Hi everyone, my name is Jean-Christophe. In this tutorial, I will show you how to choose a web hosting and how to get started with Green Geeks. So the first step when building your website is to choose your website hosting company. This is where your website will live. This is what your servers where you will host your WordPress site. When choosing a host, you want to have multiple consideration. It has to be fast. It needs to be always okay. Like you don't want servers that fails all the time. You want it to be secure, and you want to have some service as well. So I've used Green Geeks for the past 3 years, and the reason for that is because it is the greenest hosting company out there for WordPress sites. So they do carbon offsetting. They like 3 times as much as what your website will produce. So I strongly suggest that you use Green Geeks as your hosting company. Bear in mind that I am an affiliate for Green Geeks, so I'll put an affiliate link at the bottom. Please use that if you do purchase the Green Geeks. But the only reason why I'm affiliated with them is because I feel like it's the best and greenest option out there. I've never had any problem. It's really easy to have service. They always come up daily. The website has always been up, so no problem there. Alternatives are Bluehost, SiteGround, and DreamHost that you could use for hosting as well. So Green Geeks for the first year starts at 295 per month. So it's really cheap. So I will click here on Get Started now and I will choose my plan. So you can see that there is a light version, a pro version, and a premium version. Most websites that I create, I use the pro license because it provides more valid, like unlimited websites. It is faster as well. You got a free SSL certificate, free CDN. Um, and multi-user access, on-demand backups, and things like this. So I strongly suggest that you start by getting a pro license, but you can always start with the light and upgrade later on if you want. So this is absolutely not a problem here. So I will now get started by clicking on Get Started with the Pro license. And the first step now will be to choose a new domain name. So what a domain name is if you look on my website, jcchouinard.com, that's the domain. So jcchouinard is the domain. This is the address where you will address it. Keep in mind when you choose a domain, don't take like my very long domain name.com, because if you take a very long known domain name, then you can have a very long URL path, and then at some point it can become like really hard to find. So when you choose a domain name, you want to choose a domain that is short. You also want to choose a domain that is related to your industry. So if you're, for instance, in the clothes industry, you may, or designing, like if you're a web designer, maybe you want to have something that has the name web in it. So one way to look at is if you start by choosing. So I will not start by clicking on Get Started with the Pro license. Next, I need to choose a domain name. So what a domain is if you look at jcchouinard.com here, this is the domain. So this is the address where you will host your website on, and that people will access it, will access the domain through that URL. So coming back to the screen now that I have my domain name, I could just type it in here, select.com. So I'll type my domain here and then I click on next. Here I need to create my account. So I filled all the form. So now I have to choose which I want to take. So I'm taking the Pro. I want to select your server location. The reason why I'm choosing Canada is because Canada has a lot of green energy. So I'm choosing Canada there in order to save a bit the environment. You can define whether or not you want to select who is privacy. So for example, what will happen here is if you select it, what will happen is by going here, you'll see that if you find my domain name, you'll see all the information about me, who created, where is the registered registrar of the domain name, etc. With this, you can have additional privacy on what your the information is behind it. So you either select it or not, depending on what you want. Um, One thing with this is that by clicking on selecting privacy, you will be less likely to have people upselling you things because your information is hidden from the registrar. So yeah, that's a consideration that you may want to think through here. So now I will just put my credit card number here and click on create account and see you in the next part. So you're ending up on this screen where telling you that how awesome you are to have used Green Geeks, and it will take sometimes until your services are set it up. So let's wait a bit and come back when it's done. So at this point, I've received an email telling me that it was confirmed. So this is the address where you go in order to log in. So in the email you received your username and password. So the username will be the email that you used to register, and the password is inside your email. So I will go ahead now and put these information on and click on login. Next, it asks you two-factor authentication. So they ask you to send a message, a text message, or an email. So now I'll put my code in. So my code was validated, and I'm inside that website with all the information about what I just purchased. So now that have our website, what we want to do is we want to install WordPress. So the way we're going to install WordPress on Green Geeks is using the cPanel. So congratulations, you now purchase your Green Geek hosting and you're ready to get started with your website. Let's see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.